Chapter 3, build your personal brand. You just heard a piece of my story that most people don't know, and it's probably the most important part. I'll say it again. Wine Library TV was never about selling wine on the internet. It was always about building brand equity. Some people might point out that if I weren't interested in selling wine, I wouldn't include links to buy it on Wine Library TV's site. Believe me, I'd be making more money doing an affiliate program with wine.com than I do with my links to winelibrary.com. I'm a businessman. If someone wants to buy wine from me, be my guest. However, so that no one can accuse the Thunder Show, which is a nickname for Wine Library TV, of being an extended sales pitch, I make sure that Wine Library only carries 15 or fewer cases of whatever I talk about. By the way, let me put in a little subnote here. The first 40 or 50 shows of Wine Library TV, I did not do that because I just wasn't thinking about it all the way that way. So let me just mention that. Anyway, if I give something a good review and it sells out, everyone has to go elsewhere to get it. If the goal of Wine Library TV were to sell wine, I'd make sure to have enough product on hand to serve my customers. Wine Library, our store, doesn't reap commercial benefits from Wine Library TV because of an uptick in sales due to my blog. It reaps brand equity benefits because people come to the store to see what it's all about, where I work, where I tape the show, that stuff. Sometimes they come to thank me for the content on my blog, which, by the way, I really, really appreciate. And all you college kids, when you turn 21 and make the schlep to Wine Library, that's a big deal to me. So keep emailing me because I want to be there, because some of you have missed me. So thanks so much for that. Developing your personal brand is key to monetizing your passion online. Whether you're delivering your content by video, podcast, or blog, it's the authentic you, the one thing that is guaranteed to differentiate you from everyone else, including those who share your niche or business model. The thing that most people don't realize is that in today's world, your business and your personal brand need to be one and the same, whether you're selling organic fish food or financial advice or just your opinion. Monetizing a personal brand is not a new concept. A lot of the most successful entertainment figures in the world are personal brand geniuses. Oprah, Howard Stern, Emerald. They built their empires out of being who they are and never backing down from it. But the major benefits of a personal brand are not limited to the A-list celebrities. In fact, personal branding is what gives everyone an unprecedented shot at joining their ranks. For example, think about what some people consider second-tier celebrities like Ashton Kutcher or Kerry Rhodes. Kutcher was already famous for his stints on television, not to mention his marriage to Demi Moore, but there is no doubt that his brand has blown up since he started leveraging social media tools. Rhodes, the New York Jets football player, has been using Twitter with incredible success to make his brand bigger. D2C level entertainment figures like Will Wheaton, Brooke Burke, LeVar Burton, and Fred Durst are building great opportunities that will likely propel them from B or D or C to A-level status. How do I know? Because I can see how many people are following them on their Twitter accounts. Now, usually I advise people to ignore the quantity of people following them and to focus instead on the quality of their interactions with those followers. It's a lot more indicative of how well their brand is doing. Many decision makers, however, still aren't aware of this important detail, and therefore the preceding celebrities will benefit from those nice numbers we're seeing. Where the eyeballs go, opportunity follows. Last, but by no means least, are the people whom you might have never heard of, who are putting out great content and leveraging social media and killing it. Oh, wait a minute. Crushing it. Like Dave Morin, Chris Sacca, and Justine Ezrick, and Kevin Rose. Their personal brands are skyrocketing, and there's no reason to think that eventually they won't become household names. You see where I'm going with this? The first generation built their brands on television and movie screens, radio, magazines, and newspapers. The new one will do the same online at a much lower cost, with no need for gatekeepers' approval. Get into position because the big killing is coming around the corner. The field may be different, but the game is the same. By the way, little side note, veering off, the gatekeepers I'm talking about is there's no editor at the New York Times who's going to tell the world or decide if your writing is good enough to talk to the world. There's no producer or director in Hollywood who's going to be making the decision if you're pretty enough, skinny enough, have the right look anymore. You can just put it out there and let America decide, and that's a big deal. Building my brand. If you watch me on WineLibraryTV.com, you'll figure out my personal brand pretty quickly. I'm the guy who tells you like it is in plain English. It's a brand that I've been able to develop from a very early age, thanks to growing up in the wine industry. I'd attend $1,000 a head tastings and rub elbows with experienced connoisseurs who lived a long time in the wine trenches. This meant that they had lots of expertise to share with a relative newcomer like me. It also meant that they carried a load of baggage in the form of preconceived notions of how things should be. They'd swirl and smell and slurp and spit and then spout some classic terminology every single time. How the bouquet was rose petals or the finish was silk. I would stick my nose in my glass, suck in a mouthful of air and wine, and the only thing running through my head would be, man, this really tastes like Big League Chew. Was anybody else getting the whatchamacallit bar on this? I really don't know what this is. It's not that I couldn't spout out an A to Z wine tasting lexicon and didn't appreciate the complexities of an excellent vintage. I knew my Malbecs from my Montepulcianos. I just didn't see why I had to use the same 45-cent words to describe my experience when drinking it. On top of that, everyone, including the reviewers, was drinking and admiring the same damn stuff. If Cloudy Bay Sauvignon Blanc were featured as the best white of 1998, we'd see a huge surge in demand for it in the store. Never mind that as far as I was concerned, the Babbage was 1,000,000 times better and a better deal since it cost half the price. It was clear to me that the industry was stuck in a rut, and my experience in a store told me that people were dying for someone to take the mystery out of wine buying and make it fun. And I thought, this I can do. So I became the wine guy, and that's how I built my personal brand. Not with wine per se. I offer my personal brand, not wine, on Wine Library TV. Every episode gives me a chance to share my considerable expertise with other people interested in the same thing I am, which is loads of fun. They also give me a chance to share myself. Watch me for 2 seconds and you'll know exactly who I am and what I stand for. Authenticity is the key. Now that can definitely be a double-edged sword. I know there are people out there who think I'm a jerk with my jet spit bucket, my table littered with toys, and my colorful language. I'm loud. I'm over the top. I'm hyper. Recently, somebody said I'm East Coast for East Coast. But I am who I am. I'm for real. And overall, people like that. People watch and they listen. And they even learn a thing or two and sometimes agree with me that, hell yes, that Riesling does taste like a racquetball. I give wine lovers the permission to like any kind of wine they like, whether it's white Zinfandel or a serious Bordeaux. I cultivated another brand too, of course, the one that got me this book deal and the keynote speeches and the consulting gigs and has helped me, along with my brother AJ, build VaynerMedia. For almost 2 years, I was patient. I let people get to know me and trust my wine guy personal brand. Then in October 2007, I decided I needed to scratch my own itch. The world was ready to know that I was more than just a funny guy who knows a lot about wine. I woke up one morning and thought, it's time to talk biz. And I started airing videos of me talking about my real passion, building brands and businesses. Regardless of which brand people are drawn to, my popularity stems from the fact that I know what the hell I'm talking about, and that I'm honest. For all my charisma and entertainment value, if the content I was putting out wasn't any good and couldn't be trusted, nobody would be watching. Nobody. To everyone who is freaking out because they fear the noise and distraction of all the additional content on the internet, you can relax. Quality is a ridiculous filter. Cream always rises, my friends, no matter how many cups of coffee you pour. Opportunity lies in transparency. Consumers want you to tell them the truth. Sure, they want quality and service and value and entertainment, but above all, they want to know that the person they're dealing with is being honest. Entrepreneurs don't really have a choice. The lines between the private and public are becoming increasingly blurred. People are able to share their experience and thoughts and photographs on video by spraying them all over the internet within minutes after they happen. The days of being able to con the customer without repercussions are pretty much over. So no matter how you shape and color your personal brand, honesty has to be at your core. I come online 5 days a week and taste and review wines. Some wines are tremendous. Some taste like horse crap. Do the makers of these wines I pan like me? Probably not. Do I care? You know, in the book I said nope. In the audiobook I'll tell you, sure, I mean, I don't want to be disliked and I hate hurting people's feelings and I love people. So from a business sense, no, I don't. But from a personal sense, it does hurt my feelings. Do I sell some of the ones that I think taste bad? You bet I do, because you might totally disagree with me. Someone at the winery who made it sure did. All I'm doing on my blog is being myself and voicing my opinion, loud and clear. When you launch your videos, blogs, podcasts, you're going to be doing the same. That goes for everyone, including those of you who are used to keeping information close to the vest, or you will lose one way or another. And I want to veer off again because I want to make myself clear about that statement. Here's the problem. Information is being put out daily, quickly, faster than ever. So if you sit on information too long for a book or a lecture, you may lose. My biggest fear when I wrote the book was that the information would change. And I'm sure as you listen to this, I'm going to change some stuff and I'll tell you when. And that was my fear. Information is coming out quickly now. It's just really tough to sit on it and sell it as a book. So keep that in mind. Let's say you're in real estate and you love it. Part of the real estate game is learning to put some serious spin on a loser property, right? Your pitch is, it's a charming fixer-upper or a gem waiting for some TLC. Even the appealing properties get the rose-colored treatment. But what if you sat in front of a camera and posted a series of video blogs telling people what you really thought of the homes or commercial sites or lots you were selling? What if you said something like, I've got one ugly house to sell you? Seriously, folks, you've got to see this one. If only to take in one of the last surviving examples of red shag carpeting matched with faux deer antler, woodland creature chandeliers. The sellers are super nice, and I would love to get them the $360,000 they originally wanted. But I've talked to them about it, and they really understand that they need to set their sights lower because this sucker needs some serious renovations. I'm thinking you should take a look at it. And if you got the $275 to spend, plus some extra bucks for a contractor, and bring your imagination, lots of it. Now, I know there are laws in real estate that might make it hard to execute this idea. Clearly, I was pushing the limits in the last paragraph. But would that kind of transparency hurt your business? Maybe at first you'd have a hard time getting sellers to list with you. But imagine what kind of coin you'd earn if you became the most trusted real estate agent in town, because no one would ever doubt that you tried to sell them a house you didn't think was worth every dime for which you were asking. Your listings would go up because sellers would be confident their properties weren't going to gather dust on the market. Your sales would even go up because buyers would know they weren't going to have to deal with any BS. On top of that, you might have the satisfaction of doing something you loved entirely your way. And on top of that, you'd build a solid personal brand, the no BS real estate agent that you can now carry with you wherever you go and use as leverage to find bigger and better professional opportunities, including book writing gigs, television appearances, and a variety of other media appearances. Do it. Do it right now, guys. One real estate agent who's building a powerful online personal brand is Ian Watt at ianwatt.ca. Every video blog he launches as he drives around the streets of Vancouver, where he's based, dispenses Ian's thoughts on the real estate business and the state of the market, or offers general advice to property buyers and sellers. He's lively, he's knowledgeable, and he's crushing it big time. Trust your own palate. When you're thinking about your personal brand, don't worry that it will have to look anything like mine in order for you to crush it. You'll crush it as long as you concentrate on being yourself. Besides, you can't be like me. I like wines that you don't. I like White Castle and the New York Knicks, and you probably don't. I'd rather drink a V8 than any fruit juice, and I adore my veggies. I'll take carrots over a plum any day. All these quirks have shaped my brand. Your brand will be unique and interesting because you are unique and interesting. Don't put on an act to try to imitate me or anyone else who's had some success with social marketing. You will lose because people can sniff out a poser from a mile away. I had to wait a long time to find a platform that allowed me to create and share my authentic personal brand. Before I launched Wine Library TV, I saw that blogs were on the rise, and I knew there was an opportunity there, and I was desperate to get in on it. But I looked in the mirror and said, can I write? Damn, I can't. Which is pretty ironic. I should mention that this book was, done by audio taping it and then dealing with a ghostwriter. And so you've got to know your DNA. You've just got to. You've got to pick the platform you most succeed in. Now, could I have hired someone to write elegant blog posts for me and pretend they were mine? Note to some celebrities, I won't name you, I love you, but you've got to cut that out. We know you're not writing those tweets, and we know you're not writing some of those Facebook messages, so start getting real, please. But I knew if I was going to get people to get interested in me, everything was going to have to come straight from me, unfiltered and unpolished. Creating and disseminating my content would be the only thing that I absolutely could not and would not delegate. Besides, if I was going to spend the time building a gazillion-dollar business so that I could buy the jets, I had to do it in a way that was authentically me and that I couldn't wait to do every day. So I waited until I found a medium that spoke to my DNA, video blogs. Jumped on it and never looked back. Embrace your DNA, be yourself, put out awesome content, and people will be interested in what you have to say. Believe me, if you're that good, people are going to find you, and they're going to follow you, and they're going to talk, and getting people to talk is the whole point. Word of mouth on steroids. Leveraging social networking platforms into effective conduits for your personal brand is all about building word of mouth. There's nothing new in that. Since the first 6 handfuls of grain were handed over in exchange for a new ox, business owners have always known that what their customers and their friends, family, or colleagues think about their restaurant, or car, or vacation spot, or cleaning service, or design firm has always mattered more than any billboard or radio ad they could buy. But there have always been a finite number of people their customers and friends, family, or colleagues could talk to about their experience with their products or services. Now, though, the internet and social networks and the instant access to online communities and the millions of people who will eventually join them, they provide, have pumped word of mouth up like it's on steroids. The consumer is no longer limited to talking about her experience with your personal brand to the people in her immediate circle or even in random encounters during her day. Now, if she's got a Twitter account, she can now tell 5,000 people that she just read your hilarious blog post about breeding Siamese cats. And since those aren't just 5,000 random people, they're 5,000 people who have deliberately told your Twitter reader they want to hear what she thinks, chances are superb that a good percentage of them are going to be curious enough to check out your blog for themselves. And like in a brick and mortar business, half the battle is getting them in the door. If they like you, many will turn around and repost your reader's comment to all of the people following them, and so on and so on. Now, how long did it take you, the Siamese cat breeder, to reach thousands upon thousands of potential blog readers and customers this way? For free, nonetheless. 10 minutes, give or take? It's mind-blowing. Every day, more and more tools are being created to carry your personal brand further. Everybody's doing it. You may have not started your business yet, but there's a good chance you've already created a personal brand without even realizing it. You become one the second you create any kind of internet account that puts you in the public eye. Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, social networking sites, yes. But personal branding sites too? Don't think so. Let's say you're a shutterbug and you use your Facebook or Flickr account to post your best photographs. You've just made it possible for someone whose passion is business development with expertise in advertising to see them. Next thing you know, you get an email asking if you want to earn cash by shooting stock photos in your area. I know this might sound like pie in the sky, but it happens every day. I've seen it with my own eyes. You have to understand that we're living in a world where word of mouth is allowing content to travel faster and further than ever before. It's passed around and around until finally it falls in the right hands. I'm telling you, once you join the digital world, you're in play, so you'd better be prepared. Maybe you think that you have no need to create a personal brand because you like your job or you work for a corporation. What? You think you're invincible? Even if the economy were soaring, I'd be telling you to start using social media tools to share your ideas with the world and make yourself a recognizable brand. What if you're a trader at an investment firm and suddenly you're out of work and all you have to show is a bullcrap resume? Hold it. You might want to reassure me. My resume is awesome. Tell me this. Is it a PDF of a tidy list of where you've worked and for how long with a couple of strategic bullet points highlighting what you did at each job? Yeah, you're toast. Keep your PDF so that the HR department has something for their files, but otherwise traditional resumes are going to be irrelevant and soon, even if they're not yet. That resume you're so proud of looks exactly like the ones being waved around by the other 300 analysts in your city currently job hunting. Developing your brand is the same thing as living and breathing your resume every second that you're working. Your latest tweet and comment on Facebook and the most recent blog post, that's your resume now. That's how you're going to announce to the world your ideas and opinions. The very things that make you unique and reveal why a firm, or better yet, a passionate entrepreneur cherry-picking top talent to build a whole new kind of investment company would be dumb not to hire you. Think about how different your situation would look if you got laid off but had been keeping up your personal brand and becoming well-established as a hot commodity. Before, it would have taken hours of phone calls and emails to announce you were available. Today, 30 minutes after getting the bad news, you'd write a blog post and then send out a tweet and a status update on Facebook about your situation. I didn't mention this in the book, but I'm doing the audio now, so I'm going to riff. And clearly, I left out LinkedIn. I mean, Immediately, anybody in that world is going to know. And immediately, every manager in the industry would know you were looking for a job. And since they'd already be familiar with you and your brand, think, how can I get this guy on board? It's a fact that hiring decisions are made every day because of personal connections. If you're a sales manager at Crest, every post you make online could have an agenda. Whether it's to reveal your thoughts on your industry, we've got to come up with a fresh approach to packaging, or to reveal your thoughts in general. I think I want to take up ice hockey. You cannot afford to be one-dimensional. Everything you say that you think is irrelevant is now relevant. Think of all that online commentary you post as your half of one long, friendly lunch interview. If a manager is hiring and has the choice between two equally qualified candidates, she's going to choose the one with whom she experienced some kind of bond, whether it's a mutual belief in revamping the toothpaste industry or a shared love of ice hockey. Through your content, you're making sure that people can get to know you personally and professionally. Now, because your personal brand is already well known and respected, if you need a job and there is a position that needs to be filled, you're likely to be the first one called. If you've built your brand right, those established firms will be out of luck because the biz dev guy who has been following you, someone like me, will have already invited you to participate in an exciting new venture. Your days of working to put money in someone else's pockets are over.